In Benares, the weaving community that Kabir came from has been floundering for decades, a decline unrelieved by the growth of India's national economy. The artisan tradition was first undercut by power looms, then cheap Chinese yarns. What's left of it today is being further crippled by innovations such as WhatsApp. Traders flash the sari designs of Benares weavers to print shops in Surat, which mass produce saris at a quarter of the price of hand woven pieces. We were reading about what happened to the community that Kabir came from in the India in 50 Lives. We're going to read the poetry of Kabir. Poet Kabir says, strutting about, a smirk on your face, have you forgotten the 10 months spent in a fetal crouch? Cremation turns you to ashes, burial into a feast for an army of worms, your athlete's body. Only clay, a leaky pot, a jug with 9 holes. You're saying that my working out is just gonna go. As bees store up honey, you gathered wealth, but after you're dead, what is this? This is what's said, take away the corpse, it stinks. God, I'm working out just to be thrown out. If you say you're a Brahmin, born of a mother who's a Brahmin, was there a special canal through which you were born? And if you say you're a Turk and your mother's a Turco, why weren't you circumcised before birth? In Rama's slave, I'm a Rama's slave, and Rama brought me to the slave market where Rama is the one who buys and sells. He puts me up for sale, but you can't buy what's Rama's. He keeps me off the block. Well, then I can't be sold. My body's dead, my memory's blank. My master's name, says Kabir, is all I know. Me Shogun. This is this guy's poem, I think. Me Shogun, me bigwig, me the chief's son. I make the rules here. It's a load of crap, laughing, skipping, trembling. They're all headed for Deathville in the blink of an eye, says Kabir. The king will be separated from his kingdom. That's actually Kabir by his translation. I've squandered my whole life in Shiva City, which is like Benares. But now that it's time to die, I've risen and come to Magahar, Kashi Magahar, for thoughtful man. You are one and the same, my devotion's depleted. How will it land me on the other shore? Reading from an incarnation. The history of Indian 50 lives. And where is Kabir? Where is he? Don't see him. Kabir, hey you. 1440 to 1518, the Jaipur Literature Festival held every winter. I want to go to this festival. Do you want to go to Jaipur? The Jaipur Literature Festival, held every winter in the capital of Rajasthan, is the world's largest free literary festival and perhaps the most freewheeling. In 2015, 250,000 people came to hear some 300 writers speak at a time when free expression in India is under pressure from many directions, heavy-handed governments, thin-skinned communities of caste and religion, offensibles of all sorts. The podiums and Samyanatins of this Jaipur festival have become pop-up shops for thinkers. Do you believe in having a pop-up shop for thinkers with contrarian positions? We have a lot of contrarian positions, but to judge by how often he's invoked, the festival's guiding spirit is the 15th century poet Kabir. He's the spirit here. A man who is also venerated across northern India as a saint. Almost a god. It's a rare being who manages to be claimed by conservative religious sects and the liberal literati alike. Do you realize he's claimed by Muslims and Hindus and the liberal literati? How do you get managed to be claimed by conservative religious sects and the liberal literati alike, yet the broad spectrum adulation might have made him uneasy? Kabir was an aggressive critic of institutions and orthodoxies in pretty much any form, a debunker of humbug in an unadorned poetic style. There is no other voice from the Indian past quite like his. We're talking about Kabir. He's one of the biggest stars of India. Strutting about, a smirk on your face, have you forgotten the 10 months spent in a fetal crouch? Cremations turns you to ashes, burial into a feast for an army of worms, your athlete's body, only clay. He's saying I shouldn't go work out. A leaky pot, a jug with 9 holes, as bees store up honey, you gathered wealth, but after you're dead, this is what's said. Take away the corpse, it stinks. Death undermining mortal follies and pretension, one of Kabir's favorite themes. These are his verses in translation by the poet Arvind Krishna Mehrotra. See, we could read this poet maybe, because he likes to if you like to translate Kabir, then there's a chance that you're a good poet. Like many of Kabir's poems, they are directed straight at you. Kabir challenges us, says Linda Hess. A professor at Stanford University and Kabir scholar. Quote, he says, hey you, listen. Hey you saint, or you truth seeker, or you idiot, or you brother, or you mother, or you priest, you mullah. Sometimes he challenges our foolishness, our blindness, our ignorance, our hypocrisy, our pretentiousness, all these kind of things. When we first encounter it, we think he's talking about those other idiots. Does he talk about other idiots, or does he talk about us? And it's not about us, but of course he is talking about us. Is he talking about me? I was going to go work out and play tennis today, but my body is going to fall apart. Banaras, or Varanasi, is India's holiest city, built on the western banks of the Ganga. As the sacred river curves northward through the eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, it's one of those places that seem to hold the whole world in its streets and lanes. You'll find relentless commerce and the pursuit of pleasure and perfection from the finest betel leaf to the most refined classical music. Deep learning. Is that like deep data or deep think? Deep learning and deep poverty intermingle. Death is ever present in cremation rituals and over loudspeakers, or in concentrated silence. The living are everywhere at prayer. Hindus call Benares Kashi the city of light. It is said to be the god Shiva's favorite spot, and the great Kashi Vishwanath temple here is consecrated to him. Among the city's thousands of shrines dedicated to different gods and saints is Kabir Chara or Mut. That's his resting place. This monastic compound in the heart of the city is built around what is said to be the hut where Kabir lived, the platform where he preached in his samadhi. That's his burial space. A shrine to his mortal remains. On display in one of the rooms is a pair of wooden sandals he supposedly wore. That would be amazing if they were his sandals. Or it could be a bakwas, like determining the location of this shrine. Most stories about the poet's life are based on guesswork, or total bakwas. That's a word for guesswork, as a modern Kabir might say. He would say that we're guessing about him. By some accounts, he was rescued from the abjection of being born low caste by a Brahmin whom he had tricked into becoming his guru by tripping him on the ghats that led down to the river Ganga as the Brahmin went for his morning bath. You know how you curse when somebody trips you or something?
I don't know.
After Kabir's death, other stories say his body was transformed into flowers, ensuring he was neither cremated by Hindus nor buried by Muslims, each of whom claimed him as their own. The only things we know for sure about Kabir, though, are that he was alive in the 15th century, composed poetry, came from a caste of Muslim weavers, and lived in Benares, that is. We had started this reading talking about where to get your silk scarves printed by using WhatsApp.
Keep that name.
You could go to Surat. First you take your sari design of Benares, then you take WhatsApp, and then you send it to be mass-produced at a cheap price in Surat. So we are getting our business ideas from Kabir, who was a caste of the Muslim weavers who lived in Benares, that's it. We had to continue to part 2. We were reading from Kabir, our weaver, a professional grade weaver, and poet, of course, in Incarnations, A History of India in 50 Lives by, I don't know how to pronounce it,